It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Oh, let's review.
Season 2. We'll analyze the scene.
Sounds holly jolly to me.
Before it's over, let's begin.
Yes, that's right, folks. Since the Christmas seed is going, God damn it, I did it again. Wow.
Bum.
Bum.
Again.
Again, yeah. Wow, that was the second time
Again, he
in a row.
screws up the intro.
I know, right?
Well,
Hey,
don't keep doing it.
I'm toy Tiki, okay? I still have the kinks worked out before I can become an evil dictator Tiki. That's how it
You're
works.
gonna get the Circle 7 treatment if you keep acting like this.
God. Okay, so since the Christmas season is upon us, we thought the way to celebrate and get into the holiday spirit would be with some holiday reviews.
12 to be exact, decoratively divided into 4 categories for your Yuletide pleasure.
So, without further ado, silver up those bells, light the multicolored lights, and go out and build a snowman as you join us in some seasonal shenanigans. And tonight, we will be unwrapping the second part of our franchise category, simply titled The Santa Claus 2.
Two.
All right, BlueDragonFive. This is an odd franchise to me. It really is, because there's so much nostalgia attached to the original movie, and I feel like that's exactly what it is. It's nostalgia. Looking back on the original movie, I don't even really think the original is all that great of a movie. It's good. It stands up. It doesn't have a whole ton of flaws with it. I just don't think structurally it's all that memorable. I just think we all just kind of have a nostalgic connection to it growing up. Dare I say, I almost like this movie better than the original.
No, I think the first one's still a solid movie. I don't think there's anything really wrong with it. So
I just say it's a solid movie. There's nothing wrong with it at all. I just think this movie, I did not expect this watching this, okay? Like, I walked into this basically being like, all right, it's got Elizabeth Mitchell in it from Lost. I love Elizabeth Mitchell, so I'm going to like it just for that. But, oh my God, you know what? I just completely forgot about the whole toy Santa element of this movie, so I'll just say that right away. When that toy Santa plotline got going and I kind of remembered, I was like, oh my God, that's right, they did that.
So wait a second, let me ask you this. Was this your first time watching it or first time in a long while?
This is the first time I've seen it since it was in theaters. I saw it one time in theaters, and that's it.
Okay.
So that was when I was like 11 years old. And I'm 25 now, so that should tell you something. So just do the math on that.
Okay.
But no, seriously, this was a surprising movie to me, man. I'm kind of shocked at how well this thing holds up. I really don't have a lot of complaints with it. Well, a couple things with the reindeer here and there. We'll get into it with our naughty and nice category.
I got some minor plot stuff, but it's minor.
But I think the highs that this movie reaches are just absolute crescendos of comedy. This is Tim Allen at some of his best. This is like the best I've ever seen Tim Allen.
Tim Allen is a good luck charm for sequels. That's what he is. He has really good talent for sequels.
And keep in mind, I've never seen the Santa Claus 3, so I'm actually now genuinely curious and excited to check that one out instead of dreading it, because I like this one so much. But so without further ado, BlueDragonFive, I'm delighted by this movie. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. So just kind of give us a brief rundown of the plot.
Okay, so Scott Calvin has settled into his role as Santa Claus. Years have passed since the last movie in real time. So, because we had the same actors playing our characters and such, but more on that later. But his son becomes troubled at home without his father present with him. Scott has another problem, however. The desantification process is brought on by the Mrs. Claus, meaning if he doesn't get married by Christmas Eve, he stops being Santa. Not good. So, to balance his two dilemmas, he uses a toy duplicate, and shenanigans ensue. As a result, shenanigans ensue in this tale of love, fatherhood, and Christmas, and Coco.
Yeah, lots of Coco. The most Coco that we've seen until Kirk Cameron Saving Christmas came along. Okay, so yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Let's get into some characters.
So, of course, Scott Calvin, or Santa.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You mentioned it. Yeah, just off the top, before we even kind of start breaking down the characters, it's really impressive that this movie is. It's like 8 years from the previous one, and they managed to get every single original cast member back.
Yeah.
You know, even the minor roles like Neil. I totally forgot that Neil was in this movie. Totally forgot about this.
And Laura, they're all there, as everyone.
Right, right. Bernard, I knew. Bernard is a fixture of the franchise, so I knew he was.
But I'm gonna clip your wings a little bit, Tiki. Bernard, for some reason, does not come back in the third one.
Oh, really?
I don't know what the guy's deal was, but he didn't.
That's painful.
I'm sorry. I don't know what the guy's deal was. He didn't come back for the third one.
Oh, he's like the heart and soul of the whole franchise. Oh man.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
He
could.
Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal. That lessens my excitement of the third one so much now.
Oh, you'll see. Third one's different. I don't think it's going to measure up to 2 in your eyes. I think you're good, solid.
Okay, okay.
It doesn't go in the Spider-Man 3 direction. Just be thankful for that. Okay? It doesn't go that direction.
I do genuinely like Martin Short, so I'll give it a pass on that.
That's the thing. I think Short's going to win you over. I think Short is going to win you over. You'll see. If you like Toy Santa, I think Short's going to be in the same ballpark.
Yeah, I don't think it'll measure up to Toy Santa. That's
it's not going to measure up
to follow.
It's not going to measure up to Toy Santa, but I think it's in the same ballpark. Anyway, right. So Scott Calvin.
Yes, yes. Once again, I think this is one of the more relatable Santa Clauses that we've had in film because he's just an average guy, but he's also just, of course, the big guy himself. And I think this movie kind of balances that very well.
And like any sequel, like Superman 2 or Toy Story 2, you have the added benefit of not having to explain the origin or go through the old stuff again. It's just now you know these characters. Now he's settled into being Santa Claus, and it's been years down the line, so he's a firmly awesome Santa in this universe.
So I guess in this respect, like, this movie is kind of the Spider-Man 2 of holiday movies. Because everything is really well set up. And there's no backstory or anything to get through, and it just hits you into it, and you get into the world, and you get into it really, off the bat. Yeah,
again, that's one of the best things about Tim Allen, the underrated quality of the guy, is that he has this great humanity he brings to his roles.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So
and you're seeing like kind of this strained family, again, there's like a strained family relationship, but in a different way than there was before, and it's kind of still building on those issues, but it's not just retreading it.
Sure.
It's less about being a divorcee that's not there for the kid, but it's more about he's literally separate. There's a long distance relationship and a secret.
Right. They have some really good payoff with that for sure.
Sorry, you were saying something.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Well, yeah, I'm saying it's really interesting to see kind of again, not retreading old territory. Again, the benefit of a sequel here is that Scott Calvin in this case, it's in a very similar situation where they are kind of taking elements from the first movie. That he has a clause that is kind of messing with his life in some capacity, which not just Santa Claus messing with his life, but just the fact that he has to get married by a certain day. And with that, it's like putting him into like a love story all of a sudden, like a romantic comedy, but in a good way. It's like a holiday romantic comedy that works.
Yeah, the first movie had a lot to do with like people thought Scott was losing it. And I think that kind of humor is almost a little bit uncomfortable in this day and age. Don't get me wrong, it's fine, it holds up well. But I think that the problems that Scott's going through, here's the thing, and I'm sure we'll get to this in pros and cons. This might be one of the story things you have a problem with. I think the clause itself is a little bit kind of out of nowhere and very convenient to the plot. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing. So I don't think it's a bad idea to have that be a clause itself that he has to get married, because that's the myth, that's the legend. We probably know the other guy was married too, but the wife somehow left the picture too. I don't know how that works. But
That would be an interesting thing to explore.
like, can you imagine if their lives become like intrinsically linked? So like one Santa dies and the Mrs. Claus evaporates or something.
Oh God! Oh God!
Look, regardless though, the idea that there's a Mrs. Claus, it's fitting with the classic myth of Santa Claus. That there's he's married, he's got Mrs. Claus, he's got the elves, he's got the North Pole. He has his whole kit and caboodle now. I assumed like if it was like 1 year, I would assume okay, like a year to settle down, and then you have to find it contractually. I would get that because Mary had time off for like the Thanksgiving to spend with the family and such. However, but maybe what it is.
I guess the underlying problem with it is that why is it this specific year? You know what I mean?
I have a theory. And it's just like there's a little theory here. It's nothing really supporting it, but my guess, just to rationalize it, would be that Scott. Basically, he has like because he's so jolly, because he's doing such a great job as Santa Claus. Like he's built up somewhat magical clout, like how the watch runs on magic. It's like he's kind of running low on magic without kind of the full package of all the Santa Clauses being fulfilled.
Gotcha.
So like now, so what I'm saying is like because he's running low on magic now, the desantification process has begun. That he's kind of blown through all his his credit magic, so to speak. Like you delivered on Christmas, everything's going well. I mean, all the kids are much happier. So you have all this magic, and now it's getting to the point where now you've kind of exceeded your limits, and now you're kind of losing that magic. The only way to return it is through this clause. That's a guess.
It's a guess, right? I just don't think the movie, like, it doesn't need to be explained all that well, but it's a minor issue.
I mean, again, you gotta bear in mind the reason they're probably doing that is because they have to address the age gap of the movie. That's the problem with that. It's like they have to address that's what it's been like that. It's been that many years. Otherwise, I think they would have had like that's the direct next thing he would have done. He's getting married, but again, those years have passed. So they can't really set in the same. You can't set like next year. It has to be like 7 or 8 years down the line.
Well, I guess the problem is you just have to either recast or write out Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, if you get everyone back, and the kid that plays Charlie, let's just assume the kid plays Charlie can act, then obviously, why would we want to just let's write around that instead of just kind of forcing us into a position where it's just going to take away all this great stuff. But yeah. Anyway, I'm just saying it's neat to see him kind of this romantic position where he's just kind of. First one was about fatherhood. This one's more about love and kind of love for the holidays, which is a good parallel.
Right, and I really like kind of the whole connection he has with like now that he's Santa, he can relate to people in this sort of innate, intimate level.
Yeah, which is
which we'll get to more with one of your favorite scenes.
Oh yeah. It's just like since Scott Calvin, his progression, the last thing, his progression as Santa Claus, you see, has made him a very jolly person. Yeah, and as we saw a glimpse of that in the first movie, he was much nicer to people, and again, not that he was bad to people. I'm saying he's a little less sardonic, and he has some wit about him, but he's not like a mean-spirited guy. He doesn't just make fun of people. He celebrates people, saying, "Oh, you're this way, but I like you." Which is great. Exactly. So I'm saying it's like you root for Scott 100% like you did in the first movie. You feel for the guy, but now it's like you root for him to you kiss the girl, get the girl, and save the day.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right.
Okay, speaking of the girl, should we address Newman?
Principal
Newman. I'm sorry. Every time she foiled Charlie, I just thought of that.
Okay. Let's talk about
Newman.
Let's talk about Carol.
Obviously, like I love Elizabeth Mitchell. I think her role on Lost is probably one of my favorite female TV characters of all time. Blah blah blah. That's just me fanboying. She does a great job.
I loved her in Frozen Over. She was great in that.
Of course. She does a great job. I really like how the character is connected to Christmas and connected to Santa Claus. I think they do a really good job of that.
I love how wonderfully complex she was.
Mm-hmm.
She's a principal, which of course has the connotations. She's the authority figure. And I believe we saw the principal for Charlie's Grade School last movie. So I like how the principal is kind of a reoccurring thing.
Right, and at first it seems like she's going to be kind of the stereotypical, like, overbearing principal, but the layers get peeled back, and you see she's not that way at all.
Like Scott, like any parent, he's going to the kid's defense, and he's like, standing up against her. So you think, okay, these two would never get together. Like, you didn't think that at first, did you?
Like when I first saw the movie.
Yeah, like you're here and you're watching the movie and you're figuring, okay,
When
these
I
guys
was
can get
12
together.
years old.
Well, I mean,
Honestly, I don't think I was thinking about it that deeply when I was 12
okay,
years
fine.
old.
I mean, okay, fine. Rewatching it, did that happen upon you aside from just the knowledge that they probably get together?
Well, I mean, rewatching it, you've already told me, like, oh, Elizabeth Mitchell, it's Mrs. Claus. So it's like, I knew she was Mrs. Claus. I mean, come on.
Okay, fine. Just looking at
I'm sorry. You're like poking holes at my. All right, anyways.
look, fine. Objectively, there's looking at just like putting yourself in the mind of a viewer here for a second. Like a first-time viewer, you wouldn't expect these guys to get together because they're so antagonistic towards each other at first. You know, it's
But at
like,
the same time, I feel like that's a classic romantic comedy trope. And I'm not saying a trope in a bad way. I'm just saying it works. You know, kind of the opposites attract. They're antagonistic, and yet they, you know, by the end of the movie, they really see what's good about each other.
yeah, because it's a gutsy move. Because remember, he has like 10 days to fall in love. Essentially, he has like 10 days.
Right, right.
The idea, and it's kind of a gutsy move, and they pull it off nicely, I think, with this relationship.
They do. They
and
do.
you get these great moments between them. Like, again, with Carol having these layers to it, I want to mention is like, you know, like she first it seems like kind of the no nonsense. Like really, she really looks into a student looks into her eyes and says, "I see darkness." I mean, she seems very anti-Santa Claus. But I mean, she has this great moment where it just kind of starts with their character development between the two of them, where they realize, well, you know, they're really, you know, Santa Claus is very kind of warm, loving guy with this kind of seemingly on the surface very kind of cold and loner type. They realize, you know, they care about kids. I mean, she's a principal after all. Like there's some idiot walks by and says, "Oh yeah, make sure those convicts don't get near my car." You know, the little community service thing for like students.
That guy was the single most unlikable character in the movie. I wanted to slap him.
Yeah, that's the idea. And you know, then Carol, she sticks up for the kid, just showing you, her hair's down and everything. She's saying, "No, those are good kids." You know, she sticks up for them. She knows they're in a bad place right now, like they're in trouble, but they're not bad kids at all.
Totally.
You know, she sticks up for them. She's a good person like that. And then, of course, again, the wall lowers with her and Scott, and they get together like that. It's really neat. So you get to see her a lot later. You get to see this sweet little girl who was, in some ways, betrayed by Santa Claus.
Right, right.
In a way that Scott was in the first movie, how Santa Claus seemingly was a hindrance rather than a way of belief or a help.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so Charlie,
okay. So first of all, like we said, it's cool that the original actor's back, and he has some chops here. He has some chops. I like the whole concept that really his main struggle here is, again, it's kind of interesting because they do the same thing that they do with the principal in a way where when we're introduced to his character, we're like, oh god, he's going to be like the angsty, rebellious teenager, and it's going to be awful, and it's going to taint our memories of the first movie. That's the first impression, right? When he's like breaking into the school and doing the graffiti and all that.
It's kind of a fun idea, Santa Claus having his son on the naughty list.
That is a fun idea. It is.
Because he has issues with his father being Santa Claus.
But again, much like the principal, they really peel back the layers, and he has a lot of dimension here, more dimension than he had in the first movie, I think.
Yeah, but I have issues with Charlie, and we'll get to that with the naughty. I got some issues. Charlie, my main issues actually are with Charlie.
Well, I really like the scene where he's kind of coming, you know, he's kind of going off on his dad for having to keep the secret. Is that one of your issues?
It's not that. It's kind of what's not. So we'll get into it when we get to know.
Okay, fair enough.
Again, it's still minor, but it's kind of an issue though.
My whole thing is I certainly don't think he's a standout of this movie or anything like that. But I think he could have been a lot worse than he ended up being.
Yeah, I mean, no, again, the ideas with Charlie are really well founded. I mean, some interesting ideas because it's like he's still in the same position he was in the first movie, kind of living without his father in many respects. And then, of course, like he has the best thing, the bond. It's kind of this logical pickup from the first movie. That, well, if Scott was still in his life, then obviously, you know, he'd have one of the best things he could share with the world. You know, my dad, Santa Claus, but you can't say it. He can't say it, and otherwise he has to explain why his father is not around. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, Neil's good. Neil's around, but you know, like, you know, his actual father, he's not around. You can't tell people why. It's a painful thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Also, like you get to see, and Charlie's a bit of an inventive guy, and it's kind of like he's learned a lot from his father in terms of how he kind of goes down the chimney and stuff. You get to see in his methods, like he likes the bungee, not bungee cord, but like the little harness thing when he goes down things. He kind of likes kind of infiltration.
Keep in mind, Charlie's the reason why we have hot cocoa on the sled.
True, and Charlie is also the reason we have Scott Calvin and Santa Claus.
Indeed.
Okay, so moving on, we got Toy Santa.
Oh, God.
So, Toy Santa, as my colleague here has pointed out, is a brilliant conceit of this film.
Like, absolutely, I'm going to wager to say the best thing in this entire franchise.
I'm thinking about it right now. I'm just trying to, the council's pretty funny, but Toy Santa might actually take the cake.
No, screw the council. The council's fine. The council's good. There's some good laughs in there, but Toy Santa is absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, what? I think
beginning to end, every single line, every single delivery, every single look that Tim Allen gives, just the overall design of him, the plastic face, the makeup. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, Toy Santa might actually be the best thing in the franchise. No, but seriously, this Toy Santa is just so... Tim Allen, he's made up just like the face is made... The whole head and face pieces are made to look plasticky, so he moves... He has the movement like a toy. And this is after Toy Story, by the way.
I do feel like it's a little bit of it's got to be a little bit of a meta take on Toy Story, especially with the line that they have.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, too, it's like, I love seeing Tim Allen play, we get a lot of fun of him being deluded Buzz in the first Toy Story, and, of course, Toy Story 2, you get great deluded Buzz.
It actually really reminds me of Toy Story 2 in that way.
It's a lot like deluded Buzz in Toy Story 2, but again, it's just it's Tim Allen getting to kind of stretch his comedic chops, like his wacky comedic chops, instead of just kind of being the smart guy in the room comedic chops. Just getting, just getting to be just this toy. It's little screws aren't on just right with this toy. He's getting it. He is, and he's like kind of a good placeholder, but he just kind of goes off the rails crazy, just kind of discovering things like Coco.
Oh my god!
He's like a little louder. He's like. You said hold on.
No, I just said hold off on the Coco bit. We'll get to that.
Oh, right, sorry. The thing with Toy Santa, though, his delivery's all he doesn't have the naturalistic thing. He just speaks very loudly. He says, it's just something about you I like. He repeats, there's that great bit where he's repeating Santa's dialogue off of him, and he's just saying it very differently. Again, first of all, acting off of himself is pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, it's just this great kind of this wacky version of Santa Claus that he's played, like the most, just like a wind-up toy Santa.
Right.
It's pretty funny.
The delivery is spot on.
Just the delivery and the mannerisms too. He just has he's really kind of these confined movements, and it's pretty neat. It's a clever way of pulling it off.
Hmm.
Okay, let's see. So Curtis.
Okay, this is probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You I'm worried about you for Santa Claus 3 now.
Spencer Breslin. I'm not a big Spencer Breslin fan. This totally just feels like, he's an it kid right now. Let's put him as an elf.
I can take him for this movie, but it's Spencer Breslin is kind of, he wears on you a lot. He does.
Of course, freaking Cat in the Hat as well.
Yeah, but look, to be fair, in this movie, he's not bad, but he kind of bridges on annoying, I think, in this movie. This is one of his good performances, this one. Again, it's not bad, it's he bridges on annoying.
Yeah, you're right. And so does he basically replace Bernard?
Well, he doesn't have a lot to do, but he's
good.
Here's the thing, he's there, but he kind of is the replacement. He's the top elf in the third one. So he's taking Bernard. He's taking
such
Bernard.
A bummer, man. That's such a bummer. I love Bernard.
Okay, well, so Curtis, important. Let's mention this before we transition to Bernard. Curtis, importantly, he came up with the idea of making the Toy Santa, which of course moves our plot forward, which gives us the birth of Toy Santa.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of Curtis is one that kind of follows the book, kind of elves, and that personality trait corrupts Toy Santa. So he has good intentions, but that's the idea of Curtis. He has good intentions. He's a nice enough guy, but a little subtlety is kind of not his bag.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, which translates into Toy Santa, his creation in many ways. Just that's the main flaw of Toy Santa. He's not getting all the intricacies of humans. Just like by the book rules. Follow this, do this, or else you get the big lump of coal. There's no gray in between. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's talk about Bernard. Bernie.
I think he steps up his role from the original. I think he's a lot more likable here.
There's a lot more fun stuff to do in this one.
Mm-hmm. I think the original, he was kind of more just sort of the stuck up by the books. What's funny is that I almost think Toy Santa is sort of an over-the-top exaggeration of what his character is, which is the most by-the-books person at the North Pole.
Well, don't you mean Curtis?
No, I'm talking about Bernard.
No, I know you're talking about Bernard. I'm talking about by the books thing, but I'm sorry. I thought you.
No, but you know what I mean with Bernard. It's like he's the guy who's he's the senior member of the elves, so he is by the books in terms of like he wants to keep this operation running smoothly. He wants to make sure everyone's doing their jobs correctly. You
gotta remember that Bernard also had like the vision. He's the guy that related to Charlie. He's the one who gave him the snow globe. He takes a liking to the kid, so he sees he's the number one elf.
Mm-hmm.
But he still sees the grand picture. He can delineate between the gray. So I think the idea would more be like Curtis. I'm just trying to think what I was thinking. I will misunderstand with you there for a second. It's not that this Toy Santa's emulating Bernard, emulating Curtis.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I think you're taking my whole thing a little bit out of context, but
sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
But no, so Bernard has some great stuff to play with here. He has this great comedic situation to play with. He has to convince. He's telling Santa, "There's no way I can convince these elves that thing is you." He says, "Well, I've seen Santa, and I think he looks fantastic. He's had some work done, yes. And Bernard's getting some great comedy to play here, but it may look a little plastically toy-like. One may say, but don't point it out. It's not polite. Don't point it out. He's very self-conscious."
Can of worms, Fozzie. Can of worms.
That Santa has a plastic tushy.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Just the comedy Bernard gets to play there.
Yeah, and I'm just bummed out that he's not in the third one now.
Now I'm regretting telling you this.
I guess so. I
had to cushion your fall, otherwise you'd be very bummed out in 3 when you sprung on you.
Okay, so who else is left?
Lucy.
Oh, she's good. She's good. I think obviously she's supposed to be sort of the replacement for young Charlie. I like her role. I like how she's like the one person who just knows that Scott is Santa just inherently.
Yeah, she's the kid smart to kind of figure out, wait, are you Santa? You got a reindeer? Yeah, first he started with the beard and everything. Yeah, look a lot like Santa, Uncle Scott. Yeah.
Right, so I think she's got a lot of good moments. I also think her character is kind of one of the big things that makes Charlie more relatable, because I like the bond that she has with Charlie.
Perhaps we should rapid fire through. You're right about that, but perhaps we should also rapid fire through a bunch of the legendary figures.
Okay.
Again, all-star cast playing our legendary figures, by the way.
Yeah.
Father Time, portrayed by Peter Boyle, which I think is a big step up from his role in the first movie. I'm just saying, Father Time was awesome, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I assume that that this is kind of where Jack Frost comes into play, that he's going to be associated with this group somehow.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay, that's what I figured.
But these are our core guys. They stick with us through all the movies, though. Like, they update the looks a little bit in the sequel, but it's all them.
Mm-hmm.
So you get Father Time, and I love the dynamic Father Time has with Mother Nature. Mother Nature, hoping you get her name right, it should be Aisha Tyler, who is most notable for playing Lana on Archer.
Okay.
That's her big thing. So she's Mother Nature, and I just love the kind of the dynamic these two have together, because it's Father Time. Is kind of they'll both feed into each other's shtick.
Yeah, their mother and their father, they're kind of a bickering married couple.
Yeah, I love they're the patriarchs of the legendary figures, but also they feed into each other, feed into each other's thing. Like, time, you can't have Mother Nature going on without time passing.
Right.
Yeah, so we got Cupid, played by Kevin Pollak. So funny to say, by the way. The Easter Bunny. We got the Sandman, played by Michael Dorn.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Michael freaking Dorn!
Right?
And, of course, the Tooth Fairy.
Which we'll get into with our favorite scenes.
Oh yeah, Tooth Fairy's a barrel lass. So I mean, legendary figures. I guess strong casts for legendary figures are all very distinct. Kind of this great idea that it's you can see the other. Christmas is one holiday. You get these other holidays, these other kind of big global events that affect many people. So they make sense. They gather around, and just kind of talk their issues, make sure they're not treading over territory, make sure the kids are happy because they care about the kids. That's the idea.
And that's one of the things that I'll give this movie a strength for, is I feel like it established like a sense of world building really well, like far better than the original one did.
In a weird way, it was kind of like Legends of the Guardians before Legends of the Guardians.
In a weird way, yes, especially with Jack Frost coming into the picture.
But I kind of like the animated Jack Frost more. Kind of, yes, I like him a lot.
All right.
Okay, so dynamics, real quick. So obviously Scott and Charlotte. Let's talk about that one. That's an important one.
Yeah, well, like we said, I think it's a natural, good evolution of what we saw in the first movie, and I think it's kind of one of those rare things where, you have the kid actor and then you bring him back as a teen, and it works. I don't know. You've got some negative stuff to say. I think I'm more positive on it than you are.
Again, I like the idea like how they're getting along. Where Scott's leaping to Charlie's defense, where he's like kind of being being accused like defacing public property. He's the one who suggests the community service thing. He's on Charlie's side until Charlie's just kind of backtracking on his words, like really classic father-son stuff there.
Right, yeah.
And that's good. That's a good dynamic. And of course, there's some issues there underneath the surface, which is still good. We'll get to my weaknesses when we get to my weaknesses. Meanwhile, we got Scott and Carol, of course, which we talked about a lot already. But it's the two of them together again. Ultimately, it turns into this really sweet relationship that you get to see. And again, we'll get to talk about this a little later too. Just seeing the two of them, just seeing the courtship between these two, how that transpires. That's kind of the big, strong part of their dynamic and how they feed into each other.
Oh yeah, really good stuff there.
It's Santa and the legendary figures on the whole. Just it's like
it kind of gives a sense of mundanity to this kind of like the superhero-esque holiday figures, which is really funny and very much in tune with the franchise.
Yeah. You gotta consider, they've dealt with a bunch of other Santas, and he's their favorite because the children are much happier with this guy. He seems to be very nice, and it's great. Yeah, there is some great mundanity there. You're right.
I really want to see a prequel. God, dare I say I want to see a prequel?
You don't.
I know we don't. I know, but still, it's. I just want to see how this would play out if it was like a really shitty Santa Claus.
No, you still have to say bad Santa had powers all along. You just never realized it.
You see, because Billy Bob Thornton was actually the guy on the roof in the original movie.
Well, he was thin like him, too, because it was kind of a thin Santa.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, you want to talk about Toy Santa and the elves with dynamics, or you just want to save that for your bit?
Yeah, we'll just save that, yeah.
Okay, so speaking of which, let's talk about our scenes here. So,
all right. Okay, so I guess my first, I have two Toy Santa scenes, and then I have one with Elizabeth Mitchell just to kind of balance it out. So my first
surprise.
I know, right? What can I say? I have a crush on Elizabeth Mitchell. She's an awesome actress. She should get more work.
I like Elizabeth Mitchell also. That's a fact, I do. Okay, so, favorite scenes, okay. Tiki? Hello? Okay, I'll go with my favorite scene. So, for starters, I absolutely love the scene. The Secret Santa scene is by far my most memorable favorite scene in this whole thing. Of this movie. That's the reason I watched it, just to watch this scene. So, Scott, at this point, bear in mind he's kind of lost a lot of weight. He's lost a lot of facial hair, but he's basically it's Scott Calvin, and he's going to this Christmas party. He's kind of managed to get invited to with Carol. He's kind of whining and dining her in a good way. They've had this really lovely lovely ride there. Anyway, so they're at the little staff Christmas party. The principal and all the teachers and the staff at the school. So they are. So it's basically like it's a really boring party. You know, like just got some really sad Christmas music playing, nothing really festive or energized.
Are you kidding me? That guy just moved. He's the life of the party.
And then Scott's taking notice of this, and he's just trying to think. Like an idea pops in his head. Yeah, how am I going to win her over? Wait a minute. This party is lifeless and boring, and you got to liven up because it's the Jolly Santa in him, but also he wants to win Carol over. So goes behind the stage, kind of draws attention like he does. And lo and behold, he says, "Well, you know what? I saw this bag of gifts behind it." After he basically pulls a little magic trick, making the tree and decorations appear on the stage. After he pulls the curtains back,
Mm-hmm.
and then he pulls out this bag of gifts. So with this bag of gifts here, he realized. Actually, I'm not sure if he made. I want to say he made the tree and the decorations appear, but I can't remember.
I would want to say so, because wasn't it like a big thing that the principal wasn't spending money on any decorations?
Then again, I don't know if there was mention about a play or something, because they thought that the gifts were props, so I'm not sure.
Oh, that's true. They did mention the gifts being props.
That's the thing, I'm not sure. Anyways, regardless, the point is there's like a tree on stage, he finds these gifts in the back, and they basically this wonderfully nostalgic and lovely sequence where you see just Santa Claus giving out the gifts here. This is Scott Calvin giving out these gifts to these teachers, calling them by name. He knows all the names. He calls them like, "Well, Timmy, John." I don't remember the names off the top of my head, unfortunately. But he calls them, each of the teachers to the stage. And the first one, he gets to this guy, opens the box, really nicely, classically wrapped boxes here, really nice looking. He opens it and he says, "Toss across. I haven't played this game in years." I love just these kind of defeated faculty members just kind of being reinvigorated by their love for the holidays and nostalgia for these games they held so dear, and then they get the party's livened up. Music's playing, they're all enjoying these toys. It's so lovely and nostalgic.
That just seems like such an awesome party, man. Just playing with all your nostalgic childhood toys and whatnot.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots, Easy Bake Oven. It's like an 80s paradise.
That's the thing that really got me, was the Rock'em Sock'em Robots in mint condition. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
And by the way, very expensive too, by the way, for all the classic toys.
Oh yeah.
But seriously, just even Toss Across, Toss Across, he's like, well, what is all this? Well, basically, you throw a little beanbag and you just make the X's and O's. No, not that. Like all just the classic games. And of course, he gives her the doll, and then you get the lovely story. She's questioning, how did you make this happen? Well, they were there.
I like how he kind of has the rationale of like, well, somebody's really, really knows his way around eBay.
It's very nice, very, very lovely, really sweet. How can he not win her over with that?
Yeah, no, it's a very memorable scene.
That is the reason I watched this movie, just for that scene, really. If I had to boil it down, that is the main reason.
Not Toy Santa.
Let me get to it. I was saying that scene and another scene I'm going to bring up here is the reasons I watched this movie, just for sequences.
Okay.
All right.
So speaking of Toy Santa, oh my God, the moment where he frickin' discovers Coco is just priceless to me.
So how does it go, dude?
Okay, so we have this little elf who's very reminiscent of Judy from the first movie, but I'm going to guess it's not the same actress because he hasn't aged.
It's not. That's the thing. What they do in the movies, they kind of come up with the rationale for the young elf, so that for the young kind of Coco girl slash. The helper elf, and she's the equivalent here. She brings in the list. There's a great list gag. Remember what are you doing with the naughty and nice list? Well, don't shoot the messenger. C for Charlie. Charlie Sheen? I thought he cleaned up. No.
Oh, little did they know. Little did they know.
Little did they know.
Oh God.
My Charlie. And then of course Punch and Judy are freaking out. Ah!
Yes, that's great. Keep in mind that was one of my favorite things in the original. One of my favorite details was just the little Punch and Judy puppets in the bedroom.
I don't want to clip your wings again, but
they're not there.
The idea is that they were given away as gifts. That's the idea.
What are you doing, BlueDragonFive? What are you doing? You're making me not like this movie. Okay, so seriously, this Judy replacement elf comes in. You know, she offers Santa the cocoa, and Santa, he takes the big thermos, and it's like, be careful, it's hot. And Santa what's he do? He just absolutely just downs it in one big gulp, downs the whole thing.
He's plastic. He's fine.
Oh yeah. And then he's just like, I love it. Get me more cocoa.
It's the Santa powdered by cocoa.
And then I love how he mentions like, oh man, I have a real buzz going on. He's just intoxicated off the cocoa. It's just, I think that is like really the first bit of crazy toy Santa that we get.
Oh yeah.
I think before that he's just kind of off, but here he starts going into crazy mode when he discovers the cocoa.
You know, it's like Scarface when the minute he puts his face down in the powder. You know, it's
I'm glad you made, because I was like, dare I say it's an analogy for cocaine? But there you go, you did it for me.
I'm not saying it's directly cocaine. I'm saying
I know, obviously it's not directly, but cocoa, cocaine, very similar.
I'm saying he's on a high of some variety. He's on like he's getting seasonal joy. It's like Timmy's father's obsessed with Nog.
Nog. Oh.
Coco. Not the next Pixar film, just Coco. So, let's see. All right, my other scenes. So speaking of the other reason I watched this movie, aside from just the movie, is a really good movie. Aside from that fact, the two scenes I really watched this movie for. The second one is the showdown between Scott and Toy Santa. Oh my God, I love this scene. It's like you get this great action scene in the midst of a holiday movie. You know, it's like it's not violent or anything. It's just fun and action packed.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, So again, the music is very. I think out of all the Santa Claus movies, the music's the best here. Don't worry, I love that main theme in the first one. The music here, when it's like heating up in the action. So Scott is riding Chet the trainee reindeer, not Chet. Yeah, it's Chet. Yeah, sorry. He's riding Chet the baby reindeer.
He's riding Phil DeVille.
Yeah, that's what it's Kathy Source, am I right?
Yeah, sounds about right. It bothers me that it's like, is that the one voice that she can do?
Essentially, yes. Actually, yes, that is the main voice she does with all her roles, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it varies for Phil, but, it's mainly kind of between Phil and
It's kind of like the Mandark voice actor.
Yeah,
like
but
whenever he pops up, it's just so distinct.
Nothing wrong with that, too. I'm just saying it's like she has really two ranges between male and female version of the Phil and Will voice.
Okay, I'm not trying to like slam her as a voice actor or anything like that. Certainly not. I totally respect the art of voice acting.
It's all about the casting, what role she's casting, if it works.
And that's my problem here. Is that my problem is just the Phil voice coming out of the reindeer. It does not gel well for me. But we'll talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah, regardless. So Scott is, first of all, Elizabeth Mitchell's great in this scene. Also, by the way, just the minute they just love the setup for this. They say, okay, well, we got to stop him before. Because the idea, if he delivers he stole Santa's hat and coat and everything. So, he thinks he's Santa Claus and he's going to deliver the gifts, which is not good. Plus, the fact that this guy has the coat and the hat and, the stuff that made the first movie, not a good idea.
Right.
Really not a good idea. Plus, he could screw up the whole holiday season. He's going to deliver a lot of coal, too, which is not good. So basically, they call Chet the other reindeer they're supposed to command. The main 8 are in use right now. So, the main 7 are in use right now, aside from Comet, who's kind of obese at the moment.
Yeah. I could make a really dark joke about the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and the Santa and the ass padding and everything like that, but I won't.
If you're making the dark joke, I think you are. You should be ashamed of yourself. Oh, yeah. But we're not going to dwell on that because that's far too dark for this movie.
No, we won't. No, we won't. Pass
Point
the
is,
monkey
Chet.
brains, Marianne.
Okay, seriously though, so Chet's running to her and just slams right into the Santa because he can't stop. And at first, I love Elizabeth Mitchell's reaction to this lovely smile she has, shocking off, this is so cute, but this is so not helping us. As they mentioned, you got a lot of crash time though, not helping. So Scott hops on Chet and basically very little flight time guaranteed with this reindeer. That's the main thing. There's a very, very serious risk riding this reindeer. Anyway, so he's finally caught up to. He's trying to get Chet to focus, but it's still a wobbly ride. He catches up to Santa Claus. The idea of this really great set design with this movie that we really didn't get to see a lot of in the first movie. Again, budget and then the limitations of the time. Now we have more. We're able to do more here. We see this the pole has this little circle at the top where you enter, where the sleigh would enter next. So that's where they're rushing to. Anyway, so Scott's pulling up. It's like a car chase in midair. It's really awesome. Scott's jumping onto the reindeer, and it's like the score's getting really great. He's almost falling through, and Toy Santa has these really great one-liners throughout the whole thing. Stop it! You're scaring me! It's just really funny. It's just him combating Toy Santa like this. It's really funny. And then, of course, you get one of the great lines right before he hops onto him. He says, you are a sad, strange little man. By the way, according to this Toy Story 20th anniversary special, that is Tim Allen's favorite part of that movie when he says, you are a sad, strange little man.
It doesn't surprise me. That's an iconic, great, well-delivered line. That's an awesome moment.
It is. Anyway, so after that great line, of course, this is great, but this bit in particular, aside from from the sad, strange little man on, where it really gets me. It's when he says, you were sad, strange little man. Then basically Santa Claus is about Lucy, I'm home, or it's saying I'm home. And he's about to jump into the sleigh and get him, but then of course they go up. The reindeers go up, and Scott almost falls out of the thing completely, but he's holding on by the railing. It's such a great shot.
Yeah, it's a really well done action scene.
Yeah, what's so funny about the movie is it just it puts me in the mindset of Toy Story 2 and Buzz versus Deluded Buzz.
Exactly.
It's a great little sequence between just the two Tim Allens going up against each other. It's really fun. That's all. It's really fun.
Okay, so I'm going to sandwich my two Toy Santa moments in with a really sweet, very simple moment with Elizabeth Mitchell. So we have, this is basically kind of the classic first date after the chemistry and everything has been established. Scott, he's offering to accompany her to the faculty meeting, the faculty party, which you already talked about. And I love the whole reveal where Scott's like, "Oh, you're gonna love what we're taking," and then we see the sleigh. And, oh God, it's so cool. It's just a bit of Christmas magic. That's the only way to put it. So I love the idea of these two having their first date, taking the sleigh ride, and then of course the magic moment that happens. It kind of gives me chills. Is the snow, and Scott has the one kind of the lone cloud of snow following them. Just really, really nice, really atmospheric. Just sets a great pace for the relationship to come. That's it. It's really simple.
Oh yeah. Let's see. I love the Tooth Fairy payoff. So I love the bit they've established in the meeting scenes between the legendary figures. Tooth Fairy wants to change his name because it's kind of hard going through life labeled the Tooth Fairy. So he wants to change it to a bunch the Molinator or Roy, a bunch of names like that. But really wants the Molinator. But they vote him down. But Santa's on his side. Santa's his pal, which is nice. Anyway, so Santa Claus has run out of magic at this point. So the watch, which I love my gadgets, so I love the idea of a little watch monitor for the little watch odometer for his magic, and it's gone down. He needed to save at least one, but he blew it on the mistletoe. So now he has no way to get back to. Curtis comes by, uses one of the elf packs from the first movie, one of the jet packs for the elves.
Nice little callback.
Yep, unfortunately, kind of crashed on his way down there, so he's stranded there. And Comet is too fat from all the sweets that Lucy gave him. So Comet's not in flying condition, so they're stranded there. So they're thinking, how the heck are they going to get to the North Pole? They need some means of propulsion that has magic propulsion. So they figure, okay, well, we got to bring the Tooth Fairy after we need the tooth first. He needs to lose a tooth. So there's whole hilarious sequence of like Neil helping him out with losing a tooth by like, oh, he used to do this all the time. And Laura is very Laura, by the way, is in the, Neil and Laura are in this movie, by the way. Did you mention that? Sorry, Neil and Laura. They're back.
Well, they have a very small role. I just think it's cool to see that they're there. They continue. Again, I like this whole scene because we get to see Neil and Scott kind of palling around and being bros with each other, which is something you rarely see.
Again, the idea is that Scott's come around on Neil since the end of the last movie, so he's a much more jolly, accepting guy. So he's less kind of barbs at Neil, more like he's a sweater Neil, but still he loves the guy.
Right.
Anyway, so also the idea is they had a kid in the 7 years, which is Lucy. So that's the other idea with this. So anyway. So then, Neil was trying to help him. Hey, we used to do this all the time to get a spare change, like some spare cash. So he tied a toaster around Scott's tooth and dropped it after I guess the doorknob didn't work. They tied the tooth to a toaster and then dropped it from the banister, and we get some Home Improvement style shenanigans where he drops it and Tim Allen goes over the banister as well as the toaster.
Do you think that there's a little bit of a supernatural element going on with this in terms of Scott has a little bit of, I know it's a little bit of a stretch, but do you think there's any sort of Santa powers going on here?
Well, no, the idea is he's out of magic, so I'm going to say no.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. Okay.
That's the idea. He's been desantified. He only right now he just has he's in the default mode. Like if he gets the coat and stuff on, then he'll be back.
Right.
But if he completes the Mrs. Claus, then I'll be back. But aside from that, he's got no magic.
Okay.
Then, of course, Lucy has lost the tooth. Should I put it under my pillow? Yes!
Yes, do that!
Anyway, so then they're waiting for my little Kim Possible poster, by the way, real quick. Anyway, so then Roy comes in. Oh, sorry, Roy, but Molinator. The Molinator comes in, and Scott grabs his wings, and then he's like, "Well, look, buddy, I only carry like $20 in quarters. What do you want from me?" And he tells him, Santa Claus, "I know Santa. You, sir, are no Santa." And then he convinces him of the whole, "You want to be called Roy? We sell them the Molinators." It's Santa. It's a wonderful payoff to that line, just showing the friendship between those guys.
Yeah, totally.
It's really nice. It's a fun payoff, It's a fun little magical inconvenience it's like a far better inconvenience than Santa Claus going to the police station in the first movie.
Yeah, I'll agree with that for sure.
That's what I'm saying. It's much more creative and fun. It's using another magical figure. Okay.
All right. So my third and final favorite moment is just the whole plot line in general of Toy Santa becoming the evil dictator of the North Pole. Just first of all, I just like how he's just trying to be on the books, I guess
he's got a little Coco Hitler mustache on his beard.
Oh God!
No, that doesn't happen. But he is wearing
I freaking wish.
He is wearing very dictator style soldier gear right now. But
he's basically kind of like M. Bison levels of evil dictator right here.
That's the idea. Yes.
So I just love how it gets to the point with he needs to check the list. It says right here, I've been reading the Santa handbook, and it's very educational reading, and I need to check the list and check it twice.
I need more Cocoa.
So I don't know, just the visual of Santa in that dictator outfit, just how he goes about it, how he turns evil. It's just so delightful. I don't really have a ton to say about it that we haven't said already, but
what do you think of the big soldiers, the wind-up tin soldiers?
You know what it reminds me of is those the Babes in Toyland tin soldiers that Disney uses for their Christmas parades.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. I mean, I think it's fine. I think maybe they could have posed a little bit more of a threat than they actually end up posing. But other than that, it's fine.
You know what bugged me in this movie?
What?
The director of this movie, who also directed the third one, out of all the movies, the second one, his commentary is like an in-character commentary. So he pretended through the whole thing that Santa was real and all this stuff, and it's like they're missing very good insights here. That's what I'm saying. He said we went. That's what I'm saying, because there's some great stuff that I want to know about, but he's mentioning the toy soldiers were alive and they made up afterwards, and after all the snowball fights. Come on. This is insulting. I mean, occasionally he'd say like how the snow was done, or like that's fake snow, or that yada yada yada. But I mean, it was mostly all the Santa stuff in particular. He played it off as if it was real. Like no behind the scenes at all in his commentary. It really pisses me off.
Oh God!
Come on,
Yeah, that's a sore subject for you.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's a good movie. Elizabeth Mitch, get all this other stuff.
Okay.
Nothing. Except for like you can get tidbits like the old toys and they're expensive, but you give me more.
All right.
I'm just
Okay,
saying.
Let's ease off.
Like,
Let's ease off some of this negativity. Let's get into the naughty and the nice.
okay, so Toy Santa is hilarious, as
Oh
we
my
said. Got great cast and good performances.
Not just the high point of the Santa Claus franchise, arguably a comedic high point of Tim Allen's career.
Well, I mean, he has other Toy Story movies.
Yeah, I know he has other Toy Story movies. I'm talking, live action at least. At the very least, his live action film career.
Unfortunately, live action. Well, I mean, I don't know if Galaxy Quest is before this, so yeah, this might have been the high point of his live action
Mm.
career. It's unfortunate because Tim Allen's a good actor.
He is.
He never gets a
man.
chance to. He doesn't get enough good movies. He doesn't give enough.
You know what I
movies.
think Tim Allen needs? I think he needs a revival via Tarantino. Can you
Again, I told
imagine
you-
Tim Allen in a Tarantino movie?
Well, I told you that Tarantino scene he had, where it was very Tarantino-esque. It's like he's like the socially conscious hitman.
Right.
Okay.
I don't know. Just something to put in my back pocket. I think Tarantino's always kind of pulling out those actors that haven't been seen for a
Well,
while.
I do. I'm not going to tell you this here and now. I'm just going to tell you I do have actually an idea for a serious, like not an Oscar with. I'm sorry, that's overhyping it. For an award-winning, or at least a very heartfelt Tim Allen Christmas special, Christmas movie,
Oh no.
and it would be Tim Allen and Tom Hanks.
Oh dear God.
I swear to God, it's like it'd be based off the most hilarious, awesome premise, but played seriously, played for real drama. It'd be like a Hallmark movie.
Okay, so any more pros?
Yes, it's very fun. The third act's great. Good premise. Santa Claus is looking for the Mrs. Claus. That's a good premise.
Well, Elizabeth Mitchell is a really good romantic foil here.
Yeah, the classic nostalgic toys are freaking awesome.
Oh yeah.
There's a great heart and warmth to the story, and that's very important. So it's kind of continuing off the heart and warmth we got from the first movie, but kind of expanding upon it here.
Yeah, just overall, I think this does a good job of kind of establishing more of the universe and more of the world. We get to see more of the holiday figures and that council. All the original cast is back, which is a rarity, and they all do a good job.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we should transition to the naughty. Not a lot for the naughty.
Not a ton.
I think the Charlie resolutions, it's a little rushed and just doesn't really get. It's kind of glazed over, to be honest with you. The Charlie resolution.
It is a little glazed over the actual resolution to the story. I mean, I think the conflict itself is very engaging, but I'll agree with you.
It's a good conflict, but there's no payoff. That bugs me back because it's such a good idea for the film.
Well, I would wager to say the payoff is how how he kind of passes on the secret to his sister.
Yeah, I mean that's the closest thing we get, but still, it's like Lucy was good. But I mean, aside from the tooth gag. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's built up nicely in the film. But just I don't know if it's enough to kind of fill in for that Charlie resolution. Because it's just him passing on the idea of the secret of Santa Claus. And I don't know. It doesn't. I don't think. It's
I
enough.
did like it as a scene, though. I thought it was a good scene.
It's a great scene. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sure if it kind of fills that void for that Charlie resolution.
Fair enough.
Do you think the North Pole stuff is a little bit up there?
No, we've already been talking about it. I think the North Pole stuff is great for the most part.
I just want to address it. That's a potential concern. I just want to make some people might have it's different than the first movie. It's like we're going more in the North Pole than we were in the first
But
movie.
I like that about this movie, though. I like how it goes more crazy with the premise.
And I mentioned earlier again, I'm running out of naughty stuff. Here's one last thing. Here's Curtis again, borders on annoying.
Yeah, but he's not terrible though. He's certainly not bad.
It's a very solid movie, folks. I don't know what to tell you.
I guess the one thing I can very clearly point out is the frickin' fart joke involving Comet.
Yeah.
That was like I actually remember being in the movie theater when I was 12 years old and being embarrassed by that.
Well, the way it's not framed in the best light either, because it kind of looks like well, let's not poo Christmas now.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
Other than that, we have a couple minor plot issues here and there, but it's funny. I think this is a very enjoyable movie. So.
Oh yeah, very good. Okay, so as a stack up, as we mentioned, good movie. It's a great thing to put you in the spirit for the holiday. It really is.
I think it's underrated. I really do. I never hear anyone talking about this movie. I hear people, they talk about the original all the time, how it stands up, how it's a classic. They talk about 3 all the time in terms of how much of a train wreck it is. I've heard nothing but bad things about 3. I'm sorry. But I think this movie kind of just gets glazed over, which is a shame because I think this might be a highlight of. I really, really like this movie. I was very surprised by how much I enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a very solid sequel. It's you got this great theme of family in it, and again, there's some lovely romance too.
Yeah, I mean you got the romance, you got the wackiness with Toy Santa, you've got some good world building, you've got all the characters coming back from the sequel. I mean, it's a very, very solid sequel. I'm just. There's so many things that could have gone wrong with it, and for the most part, it holds up. I wish that freaking Comet fart joke wasn't in there, but that's really the only thing in there that's overly offensive.
Yeah, it's very impressive.
Indeed.
All right, should we peek beneath the wrapping paper? Anything else we should add before that?
No, not really. I guess so. So next time on Seasonal Shenanigans, we will be talking about. Hold on, I'm trying to look up the date. Do you know the date off the top of your head?
Well, you mean when we're doing it, or?
No, I mean the actual date that it came out.
I want to say I believe it's 99. I'm pretty sure it's 99.
Sounds about right. So we will be talking about the 1999 compilation from Disney entitled Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, which I do have some fondness for. Not as much fondness as I have for Mickey's Christmas Carol, but it's good. You've got some vignettes, you've got a good Gift of the Magi storyline in there, so I'm excited. That should be a fun thing to talk about. All right, so I think we're done here.
Well, kids, time to dash away all. But as we wave goodbye, don't you cry. We'll be back again next time
for even more seasonal shenanigans. I love Coco. Fa la 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 la. I love Coco. Get me more Coco.